Welcome to Love on the Pod, a podcast about all the cheesy romantic TV movies we adore. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Sherry, and we're here to talk about our final day. Was it our final day? Or
Yeah.
the third day? Our final day on the Hallmark Merry Christmas inaugural Christmas cruise.
Yes, and that means that we're
sad.
already off the boat.
Yeah.
And we're at a interesting hotel.
We have a very long wait until our flight, and so we decided to get a day pass, a resort pass, and I use the word resort very loosely.
Yes, this is.
I don't know that we want to say what hotel we're at.
No, we won't.
But
we won't. But
it's an old one.
You know, if you want to know where not to stay in Miami, just send us a DM. We'll share it privately. We're not going to put them on blast, but we'll share it privately. Unless you're like a big party person, you love partying, you love drinking all day.
You don't mind the overwhelming smell of antiseptic cleanser masked with Glade air freshener.
And a dirty pool and a restaurant that smells weird.
and an elevator that's debatable whether or not you're going to actually reach your destination or not.
Yes. And I was telling you just a few minutes ago, I took the stairs to come downstairs. Every floor has its own unique aroma.
Old breakfast and musty basement.
Yeah, send us a message via text, and you can find that info in the show notes, or send us a DM on Instagram if you want to know where not to stay. And we can also tell you where we stayed prior to the cruise, because that hotel was great.
That was great.
Phenomenal.
And don't necessarily trust ratings, because this place has a 4.8, and I can only assume that's out of 5, but if it's out of 10, that's a little more accurate.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. It was out of 10. So it was our first time using dayuse.com.
Yeah.
And they will be getting a nice message from me about this.
Because although it wasn't a premium price, they, it was affordable. It's fine. But then they also charge $100 deposit to make sure you're not going to trash the room. Who knows when I'll get that back. Yeah, you can hear the sirens in the background.
Yeah, we're in Miami Beach, so this is known to be a party area. A lot of people come here for spring break.
We're not on the beach.
No, we're not on the beach. No, but we're on a busy street. We're on Collins Avenue, where there's tons of hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I will say is the room looks clean.
Yeah,
it looks and smells very clean, like a hospital or something.
Right. Like, what are they trying to cover up? I'm not sure. But by appearance only, it looks to be clean. The linens are clean. The bathroom's clean. There's nothing gross lurking about in the shower.
I wouldn't walk around barefoot.
No,
here.
Definitely not.
So, but on the cruise ship, 100%. I walk around barefoot. Mm-hmm. It was spotless, clean, everything.
They are on it. If somebody drops something, they are immediately picking it up.
Yeah. Okay, so should we get into our final day?
Sadly, let's do it.
And
then
sad.
We can start planning our next one, and we're hoping that Hallmark is going to follow through every year.
Yes. Now, I will start by saying, since this is going to be one of the last episodes that we publish about the cruise, you may, especially if you're on cruise too, you may have already heard some people complaining. Mm-hmm. And here's what I'll say. Everybody cannot be pleased.
Exactly.
In this situation like this. There are some serious opportunities for growth. Absolutely.
Sure.
But did they also provide a lot of fun, a great atmosphere, and a lot of things to do?
Yes. 100%. Yeah.
Yes, they absolutely did. People complained about the food, and I think it's NCL food, so it's cruise food. So if you're
you're not expecting Michelin star food.
No, I didn't have anything that was gross.
No,
not one thing that I had was gross.
It was fine. I would say it was upper end restaurant.
Yeah, were my veggies under seasoned? Absolutely.
But you gotta
have to salt them myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there are some people that don't want any seasoning at all, so they have to kind of accommodate to the masses.
Yeah, absolutely. So. They did their very best. And I will say that the NCL staff, freaking amazing. So good.
Absolutely. So good. Greeting you every time you got off the elevator.
Yes.
Anytime you had a question, they were on it. I don't know how they memorized the ship, but anytime you needed to find a certain deck or an event or a restroom.
Yeah. If you even slightly looked like you didn't know where you were going, they were stopping you.
Yep.
And it was never, that's not my job, except for the steward next door. We already talked about him.
Yeah.
But everybody else, you know, if the lady is taking reservations for the restaurant and she sees somebody is struggling with where to go, she was helping them. So that was awesome. There's another little lizard friend crawling around out here. We're by the pool, so
hopefully he doesn't jump into my bag.
Yeah, don't take any lizards home with you.
No.
That'd be good. Okay, so final day was all day at sea, right? We had just done Nassau. We left that port in the evening and then sailed all night.
Great weather.
The super windy weather had subsided substantially.
The clouds had parted. The sun was out. It was beautiful blue sky.
Yeah.
Warm.
Yep. So there really wasn't much going on in the morning. There was bingo, which we didn't even try to do bingo. First of all, we're not really bingo people.
No.
Except for like playing it as a board game at our house.
Yeah. And you had to get in line to purchase your card a good hour plus.
Yes.
Ahead of time.
Yes. Yeah. And we just were not about that life. So we had breakfast at Ocean's.
Yes.
Right? We tried to go to the main dining room. They close at 9:30 for breakfast. So make sure you get in there early.
Yeah.
We did not know that.
Yeah, they close at 9:30 so they can start turning over for lunch, and we didn't know. So.
Yeah. And that's one thing that really I didn't feel like we were provided much info on was when each dining area was open. So I wish that we would have had that. Like even a little magnet in the room, you know, that just said, this is when all of the eating areas are open. Because we never quite figured out if the Grand Pacific dining room was ever open the whole cruise.
I feel like it probably wasn't because they used that for the professional photos with the artists. And so they had to have the room all sectioned off, and it would have been a big undertaking to reset it every day. So
yeah.
I imagine it was closed for the duration of the cruise.
So the first thing we did for the day after we had breakfast was our photo.
Yeah.
And that wasn't until 1:00.
Right. Yeah.
So what did we even do in the morning? We just hung out.
We hung out. We got ready. We did our makeup and got photo ready.
Yeah. And that's why we didn't, because we were up pretty early most days, but we didn't make the 9:30 breakfast because, we did full makeup and full hair and, wanted to be photo ready.
Yeah.
So we went down there. If you have not been on the cruise yet, if you're on cruise 2, bear this in mind. They do not tell you this. We found this out by accident.
Yeah.
If you are getting your photos taken with the stars, you go to the Bliss Lounge first, and that's where you wait. If you go to the Grand Pacific Dining Room, they're going to turn you away until you go to the Bliss Lounge.
Because they were taking people downstairs, like a back staircase, and a special elevator in order to go down.
Yeah, there was a 6-man staffer guiding you to where you needed to go, and they were not allowing other people on that elevator if you needed ADA access. So,
and you need to be there at your photo time, but do not get there early. You'll just sit there and wait.
There's literally no reason to be there early.
Unless you're on crutches or you have other ADA issues.
Yes.
We met some lovely ladies who were more than willing to go find out, because I was wondering if I had to take a staircase, how I was going to get downstairs. So she went and asked and found out that we could get down much earlier than our event.
Almost immediately. They were like, okay, waving us over. And we're like, us? You're talking to us?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I do want to touch briefly, though, on the woman who was running this event. She also ran the Mary Exchange. I did not catch her name.
No.
But poor thing, just trying to vamp this whole time, trying to keep the crowd from revolting. They were not running as far behind on our day as they were on the first day. Yeah. The first day they were running, an hour and a half behind?
Close to 2 hours, yeah.
For us, they were not. But she was like asking the crowd if anybody was a professional singer who wanted to come out and sing.
Yeah.
Nobody took her up on that. So it really would have been nice if they had a band or a singer in there. That would have been great.
Or even just some background music.
Yeah, something something. They did have the little museum, which is not, I wouldn't call it a full museum.
Yeah.
I would call it a couple of outfits, a couple of costumes. So they had that, quote unquote museum, which was cute.
Yeah.
It was fun. We had already been to half of it before. We didn't realize there were outfits on the other side.
Yeah,
but
including the Biltmore dress.
Yes, the Biltmore dress, the very Scottish Christmas.
Very Scottish Christmas.
Yeah, Lacey Chabert's outfit, her plaid dress that was just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
From that, and then Christopher Lloyd's conductor outfit from Next Stop Christmas, which if you have not seen that movie, it came out a few years ago. It's wonderful.
It's very good.
It's such a good movie. So yeah, so then we got to just cruise right in.
Yeah.
I will tell you though, if you are not ADA, be prepared to wait.
Yes,
it's tricky.
We likened it to the Disneyland ride experience because you get in and you're in the Bliss Lounge and that's kind of your holding area. And I think it was every 15 minutes the pictures were scheduled.
And they were running pretty close to on time.
They were, but they were adamant about this is the 12:30. This is not the 12:45. If you're 12:45, get out of line. But we were 1:00 and they took us because of the ADA situation for us. But then you get downstairs and there's just a sea of people waiting in line.
Zigzagged back and forth across this gigantic ballroom.
Yeah. So you think you're getting in and getting right into your photo opportunity and you're not.
It's at least an hour wait probably down there.
Except for me and Jessica and I think 4 other people that were ADA with their group. They took us right up to the ropes and took us right in.
Yeah. And some places, they called it special assistance, and some places special assistance is also includes people with young children. I did not find that to be true on the cruise. Nobody, because there were some people with babies and strollers and stuff like that, and it did not appear that they were given any extra treatment or special treatment. So it was just people with canes, walkers, people who had mobility issues, crutches, wheelchairs, that kind of thing, scooters.
Yeah. Because they don't want you to have to wait around, right?
Right. Yeah.
And there was really no seating down there either.
No, there was none. Because the line was made up of chairs. They didn't have like the stanchions to
roped off sections.
Rope it off. So they used these giant velvet dining chairs.
Just one by one by one. And people actually were trying to sit on them and it wasn't working.
No. So yeah. So bring your patience, bring your coffee if you need it. Although you don't want to get out of line to pee. So maybe don't bring your coffee.
Don't have a cocktail before you go down because you're going to have to use the bathroom. And I didn't know if there was even one available down there.
I don't know. I think you'd have to leave the room for sure to go to the bathroom. So, so that line situation is what makes us think that they likely did not ever have that dining room open. So I don't know. If you did eat in there, we'd love to hear about it because we did not.
And here's something they will tell you, and maybe this will be different in the second sale because maybe someone will relay this information. But the woman in charge kept saying, when you get down there, there will be a table to put your lanyard, to put your phone, because you're not allowed to take your own photos. They actually encourage you not to even bring your phone to the event. Put down your lanyard if you don't want your lanyard in your photo. If you've brought a brush or your purse or anything, there'll be a table. There will be a mirror to check your makeup and your hair and your teeth. There was none of that.
Nope.
So we got down there looking for the mirror to zhuzh our hair, and there wasn't. And it's very, very quick.
So fast. As soon as you get up to the curtain, they're like, okay, now spot 1, now move to spot 2, now move to spot 3. Okay, go stand on this line.
You're done.
2 pictures, out of there.
Yeah.
They didn't even, like, Brendan was talking to you, and they did not even they had no time for that. They were like, come on, let's go.
Ushered us right out. Yeah, Brendan Penny was so dear. He leaned down and put his hand on my shoulder and said, what did you do? And I told him, I had my psycho dog crash into me and knock me to the ground. And he asked what happened. I said I had an LCL tear, and he wanted to know if I was going to have surgery. And then just like that, they're like, look here, snap, snap. Okay, you're done. So that's how quick it went.
Just barely 10 seconds.
I couldn't even tell you if they weren't all there. If I didn't know they weren't all there, I couldn't tell you who was there.
No.
I smiled at Jonathan. Tyler Hines said hello when we walked up. Brendan, Penny, and I had a little meet cute.
Yeah, Will and Rachel said thank you to me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for waiting. But I told Mom afterwards, I didn't even see Ashley. I'm sure she was there, but I did not see her or Hunter. I saw neither
Hunter
one.
Just as I was leaving, I turned around to say thank you, and they're like pushing me out the door.
Oh yeah,
here's your lanyard. Go.
Well, they didn't even want. I was like, "Where? I'm looking for our lanyard." She thinks I'm looking for the card that they're going to give you with the website for the photo. I was not looking for that. I was looking for our lanyards, and they're like trying to get us out of the room.
Your card's down there.
I'm like, no, I need our lanyards.
We literally can't get back into our room.
Yeah, so bring nothing with you. There is no table to put anything on. Do not bring a water bottle. Do not bring lipstick. Nothing.
But you do have to have your key card. Yes. They will scan it.
So if you can just bring your key card, stick it in your back pocket, that's great because this was the only time when they seemed a little put out to have to hold our stuff for us.
Yeah.
Or do something for us.
Right.
And it was like, but the lady keeps saying over and over and over again that there's going to be somewhere to put it.
We should have said something. You may want to relay that to the lady upstairs because she thinks we're going to have a little vanity and fix ourselves up. And we did not.
Yeah. And what we found, or at least what I found, was that they had way too much staff down in the actual photo area and not enough in the line area and upstairs helping the other gal try and figure out how to keep this crowd entertained.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because they were passing apps, but they kind of didn't look good.
They were pigs in a blanket.
Pigs in a blanket and mozzarella sticks and just fried stuff.
All the stuff that'll make you feel sick to your stomach.
Yeah, like have to run out and have diarrhea and not have your photo.
I missed my photo because I had a situation.
Yeah, so
like in Bridesmaids.
It's happening. It's happening. Oh gosh. So yeah, because they had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 people just in that little tented photo area, plus the photographer.
And somebody standing right at the curtain calling you into your spot.
Yeah. Yep. So we got 2 photos. Have no idea how they looked. Hopefully they were cute.
They look good.
It's not a hugging arms around your shoulder situation. They are on a stage or a platform behind you. You stand right in front of them.
You don't get to ask them questions. I was actually surprised that Brendan actually even said anything because I'm sure they tell them just stand there and smile.
Yep.
Stand there and smile because if you engage with the cruisers, they're going to want to engage right back.
Yep. And I think for most people, there was zero interaction except maybe a hello.
Yeah.
So if you think you're going to get autographs or selfies, you're not.
No.
So don't go in there expecting
You're not going to slip Tyler Hines your phone number.
Although somebody did. They pulled Travis Kelce and they put it on a friendship bracelet and just slid it right over to Tyler. I don't think he'll be calling you, but bold effort. I applaud you.
Good effort on your part.
Oh, so then we finished our photo and we went right out and left. And let's see, after that, there was Christmas cookie decorating that we were maybe going to try and do because our photo time was 1. We ended up being out of there at like 1:20, right?
Yeah, it was really quick.
Yeah. If your photo time is 1 and you're not needing special assistance, I would guess don't plan to do anything before 2:30. At least an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Waiting, rushing, waiting some more.
Yep.
So the Christmas cookie decorating, that
it was busy.
Left something to be desired, I believe. I think a lot of people were pretty frustrated by that situation. We decorate cookies every year, so it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to die if I don't decorate
cookies. We're not
cookies.
missing out. But again, they had the opportunity. They could have done something like that early in the morning when there's no artist interaction.
Yeah.
And the reason why they shut it down so quickly is that they needed the atrium for other events. But if they would have started things earlier in the day, they could have gotten a lot more people through.
Yeah, because the cookie decorating was not led by anybody. It wasn't like learn how to use royal icing or anything like that. It was, here's some sprinkles. It's like what you would do at a kindergarten party, right? Yeah. Like here's a plastic butter knife and decorate some cookies, right?
Here's some frosting that everyone's had their fingers in.
Yeah, so fun, right? Fun for all. But I think that they could have definitely used one of the meeting rooms and done that most of the daytime every day.
Yeah.
Because there were very long lines. People we saw people get pretty angry that they weren't able to get in. And there was literally no ADA access if you're in a wheelchair or need a walker to get in there.
No.
There was none. The tables were super tight together. The chairs were super tight together. I think even you would have had a hard time trying to get in there.
Yeah.
So just hopefully they will modify that for cruise too. But just be aware that cookie decorating, and I heard the ornament making was kind of similar. So
okay, yeah, probably.
Yeah. So we skipped the Christmas cookie decorating, and instead we decided to go outside and just wait for Festive Feud.
Yes.
So Festive Feud, or no, that wasn't outside. That was inside. Did we go outside and read for a little while?
We went outside and read for a little bit.
Yeah, we went outside. I had a cocktail. We read for a little while on the deck. And then we went back in because the Festive Feud was going on in the Stardust, which is the theater. And they were simulcasting it in the atrium.
Yeah. And if you wanted to see it in the theater up close and personal with the artists, you were going to have to wait in line a very long time.
Yep. At least an hour and a half before. So, and that was kind of normal for everything that had artist interaction.
Yes.
You get in line and you wait. And then you hope you can get a seat that's close enough, or you hope you can get a seat at all. Yeah. Right.
But really in the theater, if you're sitting way back, you might as well just watch the simulcast.
Yeah. So we decided to do the simulcast because the day before we thought the simulcast in the atrium would be packed, and it wasn't. So we were like, okay, let's just sit in there. So we sat, that one we didn't sit in the front. That one we sat towards the back.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. So Festive Feud was like Hallmark's take on the game show Family Feud, hosted by Jonathan Bennett. And each team had 2 Hallmark artists and then 3 cruisers that had been predetermined. Yeah.
You had to sign up for a lottery before the cruise.
Yeah. So there was Rachel Boston, Hunter King, Christopher Palaha, and Brendan Penny were doing this game. And so 2 on each team. And Brendan was the one who was most familiar with how Family Feud goes.
And boy, he was following the rules. And he was the game show warden if you were not following the
holding
rules.
Everybody accountable. He kind of reminded me of Jordan, of Danny's husband.
Wait, that's not how the game's played. Haven't you guys ever seen this show?
Yeah.
You can't talk to each other about your answers. That's only if you steal.
Yeah. So the first team was the wiser people, the 3,
I think so though.
6 wiser, 5 wiser people,
5 or 6, yeah.
Whatever it was. They came with a backstory about how Brendan and Rachel had just gotten married in Vegas.
They were on their honeymoon.
They were going to go to Hawaii, but decided to go to Festive Feud instead.
They were wearing matching outfits.
Yes, they were
yellow on,
coordinated. And then I don't remember, the other people were their uncle, aunt, mom, sister.
Yes, related somehow.
Yes. So
only Brendan was Larry.
Nobody else had a fake name.
No.
Except for Brendan. Yeah, so they created the story. The other team did not create a story ahead of time, but they thought of one on the fly.
They did, yeah.
And
I don't remember their names, though.
It was Elf and Reindeer.
Oh, Elf and Reindeer, yes.
And Jonathan had a problem with that name. He thought it was stupid. So they were the Elf and Reindeer, and one of the people who was a cruiser, or was one of the women who was a cruiser. Confusing myself. She came up with the backstory that she was there with her twin sister. I think Hunter was her twin. Oh no, Hunter was her mom.
Hunter was the mom.
Hunter was her mom. Christopher was her dad. And then she was there with her twin sister, who was this itty bitty tiny lady,
like 5 feet tall,
who looked nothing like her.
Yeah.
And then she was there with her dad and her dad's twin brother, who also looked nothing like him. So they got through the game pretty well. They stayed on time. They did have to skip pairing up the last set of people, which was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But that's because there was a real crappy question in the middle of the game that nobody could get the answer to.
They kept getting strikes over and over, both teams.
Yeah.
Nobody could steal because nobody had it right.
No. So I think they'll probably eliminate that question. So we can probably share it because I think they'll ditch that one.
Yeah.
It was, what would Santa deliver gifts in if his reindeer went missing?
Or how would Santa?
How would Santa deliver gifts if his reindeer went missing? And they really leaned into the flying creature of it all, or animals. I think one of the guesses was antelope.
An antelope. If reindeers aren't available, maybe a flying antelope. That was
elves was one of them.
Oh yeah,
horses and the stagecoach was one of them.
One that I thought was a great answer, and I think it was Christopher Palaha, said Amazon.
Oh yeah, that was a good answer. Yeah.
That was also not
right. No, the answers were plane,
helicopter,
train.
Yeah.
What else?
I don't remember.
Bus, and taxi.
And Santa's gonna go hit a bus and just hit all these stops.
It was so dumb.
Yeah,
it was so dumb. I don't think they surveyed anybody, guys. I really don't.
And Jonathan Bennett was so funny. He was like, "We surveyed 100 million people."
And then he was like, "Did we survey everybody on the boat?" And the whole audience shouts, "No,
nobody asked me anything."
I would have answered these questions if somebody asked me,
for sure. And one of the rounds was name some. Should I say this? Yeah,
sure. Why not?
Name something that nobody wants to get for a Christmas gift.
Yes.
And somebody said fruitcake, and Jonathan looks at him and says, "We prefer you call it gay." So funny. So for the rest of the cruise, he was like calling people fruitcakes.
Which, if you don't know, Jonathan Bennett is a member of the LGBTQ family.
Yes, and his husband was on the cruise.
Yes. So he is allowed to make that joke.
Yeah. In fact, I heard the women behind us saying, "Is he gay?" Yes, he's gay.
Yes, he is. And fruitcake was one of the answers.
It was.
Yeah. And I did not think it was going to be, but it was.
Mm-hmm.
So don't give people fruitcake for Christmas. Apparently they don't want it.
True.
Vacuum was not one of the answers, which was my first thought.
Uh-huh.
So, I'm assuming they're going to change the questions for
I would think
second round, but who knows? Maybe they won't.
Maybe they won't.
So that was fun. It was hilarious. And the winning team got nothing, I don't think. Just, bragging rights forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was over. And where did we go after that? Festive Feud ended. And then we went to, a scene for the season.
Oh, yeah.
Which was also hosted by Jonathan Bennett. So he ran his little tookus over there.
He was all over the place, from the theater to the pool to the, whatever events. He was
breaks.
in many of them.
Yeah, no breaks.
After taking photos with 2,900 people all week as well.
Yeah, so this one was on the pool deck, and we were able to sit in the main ADA area, which is the best area, I think, to sit if you need special assistance.
Yeah. Although people do stand in front of you, so you have to kind of lean over, but we were able to see a good portion of it.
Yeah. And after the first night, they stopped recording what was going on stage and putting it on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they wouldn't have stopped doing that. I understood the second day they had to take the screen down. It was too windy. But the third day it wasn't. And so I would have liked if they could have done that. A lot more people could have seen better. So the scene for a season is basically they brought all 10 of the stars out on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought out the writer, Julie Sherman Wolfe.
Yep.
And she had written a scene for them to act out. And she wrote it overnight because during the pajama party, people voted on different characters
traits. Yeah.
Each actor would, different traits that each of them would have. So we missed out on that. Bummer.
Yeah.
If you want to participate in that, go to the pajama party.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought she had already written this scene ahead of time. I didn't realize she was going to write it on the boat.
Yeah.
So she wrote it overnight, and oh my gosh, the ridiculousness of it all.
So funny.
So funny. BJ Britt was he was really Santa Claus, but he was covering it up, but not very well.
Yeah. Supposed to keep it on the down low.
Yes. And Brooke Dorsey was a crazy cleaner, like Monica
OCD.
From Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Super cleaner.
Yeah.
She was married to Christopher Palaha,
who was an ex-90s boy band star. Not a big star, mind you, But he kept singing this Christmas song about LUV, and it was hilarious.
LUV Christmas, baby. It was so funny. And he didn't have like a terrible voice or anything either. So I kind of believed that he could have been in a boy band.
Yeah.
So that was super funny. And then we had Heather Hemmons was supposed to be married to BJ Britt's character, and she was the cousin who always brings dip that everybody hates.
She's trying to pawn it off on everybody, and nobody wants it.
Trying to get everybody to eat it.
And then Rachel Boston was a mean girl with a severe vocal fry.
Like Kourtney Kardashian level vocal fry.
Yes.
And she did a great job.
Well.
So funny. And did she have a partner? Oh, yeah, Tyler.
Oh, Tyler.
Tyler was he was an influencer. And as we learned throughout the week when we heard him speak, he's not the techiest of guys.
Yeah.
But he was into it. He was like, yo, 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 check me out on Twitter and on YouTube.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow.
Yeah.
And he was so funny. And Rachel, as his girlfriend, was like, baby, you have like 1,000 followers.
You're so famous. You're the most famous person here. Hilarious. And then lastly, we had Hunter King, who was a woman who wished that her life was a Hallmark movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but we also had Will Kemp.
Oh, and Will Kemp was her buddy, her partner, right?
Yeah, and he was the stereotypical jock who peaked in high school and is constantly talking about that big game back in his glory days of, senior year in high school. And he started out with this kind of surfer dude, yo, what's up? You guys remember the big game? And then all of a sudden he had this, Matthew McConaughey sort of Southern style. Like, what is happening with his accent? And then by the end he was British.
Yeah.
We don't know why.
We don't know. But he was supposed to be somebody who was basically stuck in his high school glory days. He was pretending to throw footballs the whole time.
Yep.
He had his hat on backwards. He was like flexing his muscles over and over again.
He didn't pick up on any social cues. Hunter was trying to flirt with him and he wasn't seeing it at all.
No. And at one point she has a pie for him that she's trying to share with him. And she shoves her face into the whipped cream in the pie and is like, oh, I got a little messy. And like, she's trying to get him to do this meet cute to help her. And he does not help her at all.
Not at all.
Then she falls down and he doesn't help her.
Totally oblivious. Brendan. He was so funny. Do you want to talk about him?
Brendan was a sleazy salesman. He did such a good job. Oh, yeah. It was so funny. He brought in like a plastic rat or mouse, put it on the ground, everybody screams, and then he's like, oh, for the low price of $16.99 you can get my new invention.
And
it's
bug repellent spray.
And he was married to Ashley Williams' character, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Poor Ashley. Wah wah. She was Debbie Downer.
Yeah, her life sucks.
Sad about everything, which is the polar opposite of how she is in real life that we saw anyway. So that was funny.
Yeah. And the whole audience, every time she would talk, would go, wah, wah. It was hilarious. So they do this full scene together. It's great. Everybody has an equal part. And the very end of it is they decide that they are going to try to go viral on social media by competing in this dance competition, but they only have 5 minutes.
Yeah. To put together, choreograph a dance.
Yes. And Tyler seemed to have a little hesitation with actually doing it. And then he was like, fine. Because he's supposed to be the one who teaches the dance.
Yeah.
He made up the most ridiculous. I thought he was doing the Napoleon Dynamite dance.
I did too. Yeah. But they all followed along, and I feel like they didn't rehearse this at all.
No.
He just was making up these weird moves, and they were just watching him, and they were like waving their arms and shaking their backside and pointing to the audience.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And they were singing too, right? Weren't they singing? Oh no, they put on music, and that was a whole to-do.
Oh yeah.
With the putting on of the music. Sixth Man was not prepared to put on music, which they should have been.
No. And then somebody in the crowd shouted, "Turn on the Christmas tree," because by this time it's dark, and Jonathan's like, "Oh, well, we're going to light it later, but yeah, let's put it on for this scene."
Yeah.
They never turned it on.
Nobody did. No, Jonathan's trying to get music off of his phone and hold it up to the microphone to play it. Didn't work.
Because he wanted to share a Christmas song.
Yeah. So instead they just played a random Christmas song and they did this dance.
Yeah.
And it was very, very, very funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see more of that throughout the week.
Yeah. Yes. We talked about that today, how we would have loved to see even like smaller events where it was just one or two of the stars, like ad-libbing, doing stuff like that. Cause that was really fun to see and very funny. And they did bring in one audience member. He had a very small part.
Yeah.
He basically just said ho, ho, ho every time somebody said Christmas.
Right. Oh, and prior to that, they brought in one super fan or so-called super fan to do a short scene with Will.
Was she a super fan?
I don't think so. She was very cute.
Yes.
But it was a scripted little short scene that they were to act out together. And they asked her first off, "Are you a super big Hallmark fan? Do you watch a lot of Hallmark movies?" "Well, I usually watch a few at Christmas time or sometimes throughout the year if I need a little lift." And we're like, super fan? What? No.
You know what they should do to be able to even enter this, what do they call it? Lottery. They should quiz you on some questions. If you don't know the answer, you can't even enter.
Out.
Because she was very sweet. She seemed nice. I saw her on the cruise. She seemed like she was having a great time, but she was definitely not a super fan. And I think she would probably admit to that herself as well.
She's probably with maybe her mom who was a super fan.
Yeah. So, I volunteer as tribute to do that next time. They did a meet cute and it was fine.
It was okay.
It wasn't that great.
It was so much more fun to see the whole group of artists.
Yeah. And the Mr. Shipmas ad libs were really good too. Those were funny.
Yeah, those were very funny.
Yeah. So I think you need somebody she was trying to follow a script and that is what made it harder.
Yeah. In fact, I turned to Jess at one point and said, I would have totally ad-libbed this when she was talking because the scene was he spills something on her dress and I would have just said, "It's fine. I'll just take it off."
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it would have been better if they got somebody who was an actual super fan, right? And then, maybe they have somebody narrating a loose idea of what was happening, but let them do the words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, but then they made up for it with the full group.
Yep.
And Jonathan Bennett was narrating. And then also Julie Sherman Wolfe was kind of setting the scene throughout it. So she was kind of directing people of like, oh, there's a knock on the door or whatever's going on. So it was like community theater, basically.
Very funny.
Yes. And then at the end, they wrapped it up and were like, oh, well, Brendan's character invented weighted coffee mugs for Hallmark movies. So it doesn't look like they're empty. Which I'm sure somebody's like, oh, I'm going to go do that now.
Yeah.
So they kind of wrapped up each character. And then Hunter really and Will, Hunter pulled Will's baseball hat off and they pretended to make out behind it.
That was funny.
It was very funny. Yeah. So that was great. So we did that. And then literally like almost right after that was the behind the scenes with the Hallmark Stars panel.
Yeah.
Which was again in the theater and then simulcast to the atrium.
Right.
So we skipped the theater on that one and just went straight to the atrium. And this is where we did sit in the front row.
Yes.
By this time, people were getting pretty boisterous at the bar.
Yeah. So the bar is right next to the atrium where the screen is. So it was a little difficult to hear.
Yeah.
Especially whenever Will Kemp would speak because he's kind of soft-spoken.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then when the audience was asking questions, they were not holding the mic close enough. So you could not hear what they were saying at all. But that panel featured Rachel Boston, Will Kemp, Brendan Penny, and Ashley Williams. And it was hosted by Aaron from Us Weekly. And it was not the best panel, I didn't think. And not by, I don't think anyone on stage's fault.
No.
I think it was just a lot of the questions were geared towards finding out what it was like for them to work together, and none of them had worked together.
No. This particular panel, none of them had done movies with each other at all. And so,
and most of them had never met each other.
Yeah. And so the gal is reading the questions from her card, bless her heart.
Yes.
But there were questions like, what's something you can share with us about another member on the panel? And they're all like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I met them yesterday and they seem really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was a little odd.
Yeah.
They should have reworked the questions for sure. And I don't know if Kevin McGarry had been there because he was originally supposed to be there instead of Brendan Penny. I don't know if that would have made it different because I'm not sure what movies he's done with who. But yeah, Will Kemp had never worked with any of them.
No.
So, and Brooke and not Brooke, Rachel and Ashley are very good friends. So they could kind of tell stories about each other, but not from working together because they haven't done a movie together.
No, they said they've known each other for 20 years. They used to go on lots of hikes together.
Yeah.
But as far as professionally, they haven't. I don't believe they've worked together at all.
No. So, yeah. So that was a little bit of a rough panel. There were some sweet moments. Brendan Penny got the opportunity to talk about Treat Williams, who passed away, and he worked with him for 6 years on Chesapeake Shores. So that was really sweet to hear him just glow about how wonderful he was to work with.
Ashley Williams got to talk about her involvement with the Alzheimer's Association. Her mom had passed, I believe she said 7 years ago, from Alzheimer's complications. Yeah. And so it's a cause that's really near and dear to her heart. So you can really tell that she's passionate about that. Yeah. That was fun. We got to hear a few little behind the scenes from their own personal movies. Yeah. A couple of really funny stories.
Yes.
So that was good. But yeah, I think they should have researched the questions a little bit more as they would relate to the actual panel.
Yes. Yeah. And I was telling Mom earlier, the question that I want to know the answer to is, how do they cast the Christmas movies? If you're in the Hallmark family, you're already in, right? You're like part of the family. You're in a lot of movies. What do? Do they just call you and say, this is your assignment this year? Or do they say, we want you to come in for these 3 movies and audition? Like, how does that work? I want to know.
No one asked that.
No one asked that. No.
And my question would have been, if you were not a Hallmark actor, what would you do with your life? Did you have other aspirations besides acting?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So then that panel was over. And again, it ran on time. And that finished at 8. And at 8:30 was the ball. So we ran upstairs real quick. And did we even eat lunch yesterday? Oh, yeah, we did eat lunch at Oceans.
Yeah, we had lunch, and then we didn't have time to have dinner before the ball.
No, so we ran upstairs, got changed, put on some lipstick, did what we could with our hair, because don't worry about it, honestly. The cruise ship will just wreck your hair.
Yeah.
Leave your curling iron at home. Save yourself some strife.
If you have long enough hair for a bun, great.
Yeah.
It's going to get windblown. It's going to get salty.
Yeah.
Humidity is a real big challenge.
Oh, yeah. Like the stars had professional hair and makeup, but Brooke had her hair up pretty much the entire time. Because if you have seen her, she has beautiful, long, thick.
Glorious
I would guess
hair.
It's curly. That would be my guess just based on how thick it is.
Yeah.
But she had it up, I would say 80% of the time. It was up in a bun or a ponytail.
Yeah.
So we get dressed. We go down to the ball. We walk in just before it starts, and they're clearing the stairway from the top deck. And people are around us, and they're clearing the whole walkway to the stage. And we didn't know what was going on.
It was wall-to-wall people. We didn't know.
Yeah, people around. I was like, oh, is that how? I thought they had cleared it for ADA to get through. And the people next to us were like, oh, no, we think the stars are going to come down here. And we're like, oh, okay.
Right.
We'll stay here.
We're standing, yeah.
So obviously they didn't stop to greet anybody or anything. And they were mostly trying not to fall down the stairs, I think was their main
they were dressed up
focus.
For the ball.
Yeah, they were dressed in heels and long dresses and all the things. So they each were partnered together, a guy and a girl. And
it was like a prom procession.
Yeah, Jonathan really Bennett went up on stage and then he announced to everyone. And I took a video of them coming down the stairs. Heather and BJ waved, but everybody else was pretty focused on just not falling on their face.
It down the stairs.
Yeah. Yep. And then we left.
It was so crowded.
It was I was unbelievable.
On crutches. There was one woman trying to get her cabin mate through on a scooter, and she kept saying, "Scooter coming through, please move. Scooter coming through." And you couldn't move anywhere. There was there was no way a ball was going to happen. It was standing there in your pretty clothes.
It was more than 3/4 of the ship was down there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was a major safety hazard.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. So here's the thing. It's not a ball, guys.
No.
If you are expecting a Hallmark style Christmas ball,
dancing,
no.
That's not happening.
We did not stay, but we did hear from several people who did stay, and they said it was half an hour of the stars up on stage. They danced for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I did see video of Will Kemp and Brooke Dorsey doing like a full waltz because they have danced together before. Mm-hmm. Which they should have put her on the panel. What?
Yeah.
Maybe she was too nervous. Maybe she didn't want to do a panel.
Maybe, yeah.
So they were dancing. Then what else did we hear happened on the stage?
Oh, then James, who is married to Jonathan, got up and sang a couple of his songs, and they plugged his upcoming Christmas album,
mm-hmm.
which I guess was annoying to some people. I don't think I would have had a problem with that.
No.
He's Jonathan's partner, and he wanted to promote him, and it wasn't something that went on all week long.
But I would not have had a problem if he was singing in different areas of the ship throughout the week.
Yeah.
That would have been fine with me.
Maybe while we were waiting for our photos.
Yeah, because I'm bummed I missed it. And I am going to be listening to his EP when it comes out this week.
Yeah.
So.
And then apparently they plugged Hallmark Plus really hard, which was kind of a bummer way to end it, I think. Because anybody that's there, I think has either the Friendly app or some channel like a DirecTV with Hallmark on it or Hallmark Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we already paid dearly to get on the cruise. We know where the movies are coming from.
Yeah.
When they were plugging the Holiday Touchdown movie, it was very obvious it's a Hallmark Plus exclusive movie.
Yeah.
And so we know about Hallmark Plus. And then we get back to our cabin.
Oh, wait. Holiday Touchdown isn't Hallmark Plus.
Not Holiday. Jingle Bell Run. Jingle Bell Run is a Hallmark Plus, isn't it?
I don't know.
Now I'm confused.
Mr. Christmas is, though. Mr. Christmas is.
Yes. Finding Mr. Christmas.
Yes. Finding Mr. Christmas is. And that is Jonathan's baby.
Yeah. And so people were saying this wasn't a ball. This was promoting Jonathan's husband and also plugging Hallmark Plus.
Yeah.
And when we got back to our cabin, I think it was the day before, there was a card, it looked like a Christmas card from Hallmark. We're like, oh, how nice. And we thought it might be, pictures of the stars and thank you for coming. No, it was an advertisement for Hallmark Plus. So that was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. I think they did it tastefully in some instances.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it not tastefully in other instances. Yeah. And I think to call that event a ball was an incorrect description.
It was a huge stretch.
Yeah.
There was no ball in it.
Yeah. It's just a final night party. It's a holiday party. It's a get together,
Mm-hmm.
Don't call it a ball.
In fact, Jonathan was actually calling it formal night, which is what it was. You dress up and you stand there and there's no room to dance.
No. So although the idea is grand, there is not space on that ship to do a ball.
It's too small.
They could not, unless they broke it up into 3 different events and didn't allow other people onto the pool deck, which is impossible. So I think, take that for what it is for the second cruise. Mm-hmm. Don't stress about packing a fancy dress if you can't fit it in your bag.
Yeah.
They weren't kicking people out for wearing normal clothes.
No.
And really, it's standing there in the dark in your fancy dress for 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then leaving. And a lot of people just got dressed up literally only to take photos and didn't even try to go out there.
We went out there. We were able to see the artist come down the steps and then we're like, you want to go?
Yeah.
So we went into the atrium where there are many photo ops.
Yeah.
And not as well lit as maybe they should be.
Yes. They need more spotlights going on in there because it's a very dark area of the ship. It's right in the center.
Mm-hmm. During the day, it's better, but at night, it's very dark.
Yeah. So it was a little tough to get good photos in there, but just make sure you turn your flash on.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing to mention too about the pool deck, about the party on the pool deck, is that it's not just because mom was on crutches that we couldn't get through. You could not get through no matter what.
And if you tried to push your way closer to the stage, you would have gotten dirty looks because it was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. And so if you do get there early and you do sit in the ADA section, just keep in mind, you're going to be stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to be stuck there until people clear out. And I think most people did clear out right after the stars left the stage. But
because also you had to get back to your room, pack up your bags if you wanted the porter to take them and have them outside your door by 9:00 p.m.
Yeah. So I think, as Jonathan mentioned several times, the ball could use some workshopping.
Mm-hmm.
They could change that up a little bit, do something else. Yeah, I don't have any particular ideas for what they should do, but maybe I'll come up with something.
Yeah.
But just, yeah, it was not a ball.
No.
So leave your heels at home.
Mm-hmm.
Leave your crown at home. You don't have to wear it. I mean, you can. Lots of people wear.
Lots of people look, I mean, they look spectacular.
Yeah, but don't go out and spend hundreds of dollars on a
No, if
dress.
you're thinking you have to go out and buy a special dress, you really don't.
Don't rent a tux.
No.
No.
Oh, and we did get our picture taken with Santa Claus yesterday.
Yes.
So-
One of the cruisers brought his Santa suit. It was so sweet.
Yeah. And his wife was taking pictures for everybody. Would just hand her your camera, and they were lovely. And they said, "Do you want it without your crutches? You know, Santa can hold you up. You have his wife's permission." So they took my crutches out. So for many of the pictures, if you see them, I'm not on my crutches, but they just know they're tucked behind a prop or something because I had to be on them the whole time.
Yeah.
This was not a ruse to get special treatment whatsoever. In fact, I'm going to see an orthopedic doctor as soon as I get back.
Yep.
So,
yeah. And that was it. We took our pictures and then we went back up to the room and we
ordered
were
room service.
Yeah. We did not eat in the dining room for dinner ever.
No, we didn't.
We ordered room service every night.
Yeah.
Except for the first night, but we had gone to the buffet at like, I don't know, it was like 5 or something. So that was just fine. So there was a little delay. So just keep that in mind whenever, a big event is letting out, all the dining is going to be busy, so just make sure you're aware of that. It's not so much the normal like breakfast, lunch, dinner times. It's more, the Stardust just got out. Everybody's hungry.
Yeah.
They're all going to go get food. And that happened after the ball last night too.
Yes, definitely.
So we ordered room service, waited like an hour and then called back and they had lost our order. But I also think maybe they didn't because our food came like literally less than 5 minutes later. So
yeah,
maybe there was just a miscommunication
Could be.
somewhere.
Yeah. And then we just went to sleep.
We didn't even eat the chocolate cake that we ordered.
No. I took 2 bites of it this morning.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. So the 7-layer chocolate cake has got like layers of mousse and it's delicious, but
yum.
And it's very big. I couldn't have eaten the whole thing last night or this morning. So
yeah,
that's a shareable for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So we did that. And then, and you had the kids' vegetable tacos, right? If you have kids, they probably aren't going to like it.
No,
guys.
They're very onion forward.
Radishes.
With radishes and avocado and a crunchy shell, which I was not expecting.
Unless you have a child who is very adventurous, which usually a kid's menu is meant for kids who are not adventurous.
Yeah, it's usually PB&J, which they had.
Yeah,
macaroni, which they had.
Chicken tenders.
Yeah. But the avocado tacos, I wouldn't recommend for kids.
Yeah. Did you like them?
They were okay.
They were fine.
They were okay. Very oniony, which could be why I'm feeling a little today.
Yeah.
But
too many onions.
But beyond that, I thought the food was great.
Yeah, I had the tilapia again last night because it was really good. I liked it. And I don't buy a lot of fish at home because it's so dang expensive because I live in Texas and we're far away from fish. So yeah, and I got the cheese plate again for the 3rd night in a row. Don't judge me. It's fine.
Hey, you're on vacation. Cheese it up.
Yeah. I didn't eat as much of it though, because I did notice that the cheese plate was looking sadder and sadder increasingly every night. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to eat all this.
Yeah. How old is this cheese?
Yeah. And then we had frantically tried to pack our suitcases to get them out for the porter before the ball. And then we realized we didn't have a pen for our luggage tags and you have to fill those out. So we were like, screw it. We're not doing it. And I'm glad we didn't.
No.
That was a friggin' nightmare.
It was a sea of thousands of suitcases.
Yeah. And we would have had to wait way longer. So.
And here's a helpful tip for you. If you can get off the ship right away, highly recommend it. Get your stuff and get out, because if you need an Uber, you're going to wait.
We waited what? 45 minutes,
Yeah.
probably. And we got off before they had called any of the people who were picking up luggage. And we still waited 45 minutes.
Yeah, we had 3 different Ubers cancel.
Yeah,
because
it was a mess.
Just too congested.
Yeah, because they also, Six Man has another cruise leaving today.
Yeah.
So they're taking down everything. And that's the other thing, guys. If you think you're going to get pictures in the morning on the boat before you get off, you're not.
No.
They take down all the decorations.
Night, Santa's little elves start taking things down.
Yeah, which is, I'm glad I didn't see it because that would have made me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really shuffle you off. They're like, get out of here. Unless you left something in your room, get out of here.
Yeah.
Food is only open till 8 and then you're on your own, kid.
Yeah. Yep. And now when we were waiting, we did see Jonathan Bennett came out with James, Tyler Hines, Heather, BJ. I think that's all that we saw.
That's all I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were all waving. I think a couple of people took selfies, but I think by and large, people were pretty respectful of their time because they're off the clock at this point.
Yeah. Will was there too.
Oh, Will was there too. That's right. I did see him.
He was loading everybody's luggage.
He was helping load luggage, which I thought was adorable. Tyler had on a hoodie and sunglasses. So he was in, leave me alone mode.
Right. But you could still tell who he was. Tyler, you need a different color sweatshirt.
Although the ladies next to us were like, he's got on a hood and sunglasses and a backpack. He kind of looking like the Unabomber. But when he got in his Uber, he waved goodbye to everybody on the way out, which was lovely.
Yeah, because he waited the longest.
Yeah.
The other people had like the fancy black SUVs, and he went in an actual SUVs. Uber. I think it was like a Volvo.
Yeah.
So, and I think they were all going to other commitments. They're really pushing the Groomsmen trilogy right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tyler's still really promoting Holiday Touchdown, and I think he's flying to New York with Hunter to do promotion this week. Yeah. So that one
comes out at the end of the month.
Yeah, the 30th. So they are in full promo mode for everything. They just have to be on constantly. Yeah. So, he was still taking some selfies, but he wasn't getting mobbed.
No,
they were done. They were done working. Yeah. So we did not, I considered it, but then I was like, I don't want to be that person.
No. And once a couple people start rushing over, then suddenly everyone's rushing over, and I didn't want to be that person.
No. So. And honestly, I think everybody was like just trying to get into their Uber. And so they weren't as focused on like, can I try and get a picture?
Yeah.
There were definitely people who their job on the cruise, like they made it their job was to find everybody and take a picture.
Yeah.
And if that's what brings you joy, then I would say go for it. But I would also just say, enjoy the cruise for what it is. Don't worry about, did I get a selfie with every single one?
Because what are you going to do, really? You're going to post it on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah.
People are going to like it, and then it'll be gone.
Yeah. Yep. We won't share what they were, but they do give you a couple of gifts. So that was really nice. So leave a little bit of room in your luggage to bring some gifts home that they give you. And
the deer foams, I would recommend if you're doing carry-on only, leave them at home.
You don't need to bring them.
They take up a tremendous amount of room in your suitcase. We wore them once for pajama night. Other than that, it was too warm for fuzzy slippers.
Yeah. And I wear my slippers typically only inside my house, so I don't like to wear them in public spaces. So I will take them home and clean them with a Clorox wipe before I wear them in my house. I'm very grateful for them. I'm excited to have them because I usually buy myself new slippers every year, but not expensive ones. Yeah, they're usually the Costco ones. But yeah, it's, if you're short on space, leave the deer foams, leave the fancy dress, leave the crazy amount of accessories. Yeah. It's just, you don't need it to have a good time.
Right.
The
door decorations are lovely, and a lot of people did them, but a lot of people did not. We chose not to, just because we wanted to do carry on only. We knew that once they came down, we'd be just tossing them in the garbage. And so we opted not to, but if that's your jam and that brings you fulfillment and joy, go for it.
Yeah, then go for it. But it's not necessary to have a good time. No. I don't think. And there were plenty of people who when we weren't in a theme mode, right? They were wearing just regular clothes. Not everybody was in full Hallmark all day long or full Christmas clothing or anything like that. Some people were.
Yeah.
There was one gal I saw posted on the Facebook group before we even left that she made all of her clothes.
Yes.
And I don't think I ever saw her. I wish I would have.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were just in their, leggings and regular normal t-shirt.
Yeah.
So don't stress yourself out about it. If you got to leave the heels at home, leave the heels at home. If you got to leave the crown at home, leave the crown at home.
Yep.
Like, you're still going to have a good time. I brought a That's Garland for You t-shirt, pajamas, and I did bring a dress, but it folded up.
Yeah. I brought a dress also, and it folded up very nicely. It was nothing that needed to be on a hanger in a garment bag or anything like that.
Yeah.
Didn't need its own suitcase.
No. And I brought shoes to wear with my dress, and I ended up wearing flip-flops.
Yeah.
So, and that was fine. Nobody judged me.
No, I was in flip-flops the whole time.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I think that wraps up our cruise.
Yeah. 2024 Christmas cruise.
I know. We're going to try to get on 2025 if we can.
So much fun.
Yes.
So much fun. And we learned so much from this one. They have already sent out a survey. We will give some tips. We're not going to piss and moan about things.
No.
Because really it was just a joyful experience.
Yes. It was super fun. There's opportunities for growth, but there were also really, really great pieces of it that they did a really good job at. The stars all did their best to serve everybody at the highest level that they could. Mm-hmm. And so that's all you can ask for, I think. So
well done, Hallmark.
Yes.
And
well
all the
done.
stars.
Yes. And Six Man.
Yes.
Thank you. Because you guys put in work. Yeah. And NCL. They all put in a ton of work. I think Hallmark provided the branding and the stars, but Six Man did the heavy lifting of everything else.
They did.
So.
And they were just as accommodating and helpful as the NCL staff.
Yep. Absolutely. So if you need help on the ship, just flag literally anybody who looks like staff down and they will help you or direct you to the right place.
That's right. Exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening. If you were on the cruise and you want to share your thoughts with us, shoot us a text message. The link is in our show notes, or send us a message on Instagram at Love on the Pod. If you love what we talk about and you want to be a guest, do the same thing. We might pick you to be a guest on the show.
We would love to hear from you. We would love to share your thoughts.
Yeah.
We'd love to know if you had up close and personal experiences with the artists.
Yes, absolutely.
So let us know.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for listening. And we will be back to our regular scheduled programming every Tuesday for a new episode. What are we talking about next week? I don't remember, so I'm not going to say it because it'll be wrong.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's Carolyn Ray.
Well, we're recording that.
But what are we?
We're not posting it next week. Right. Next week is going to be something else that I do not remember. So, Decom Stars Gone Hallmark.
Oh, yes.
We're posting our roundup.
Disney original movie stars.
Who have
Hallmark
been in
movies.
Hallmark
or Lifetime
and made for TV movies.
Netflix,
Yes, all the things.
So don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Love on the Pod. Check us out at Love on the Pod. Okay. You can check us out at loveonthepod.com. We're tired, can you tell? And we still have many hours before our flights.
Yes. That's why we're in this janky hotel. Okay.
But thanks for tuning in and living vicariously through our cruise. We hope to see you next year on the Hallmark Cruise.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.